everybody, this is Throbbie from Large Lad Studios, and I'm also joined with one of our other team members here, Shokin with Large Lads. You can go ahead and say hi. Oh, I didn't pick you up.
Shokin. Oh, hey guys, I'm Shokin. That's the one and only.
And we're also joined with a friend of the channel here, Rufy.
Howdy guys, this is Rufy from Los Red Studios.
Yeah, make sure you go check out Rufy's stuff if we have any links in the description for any of his projects.
Hopefully.
Yep. So today we're doing a tier list. Make sure if you enjoy the tier list that you like, comment, subscribe. Also in the description, you check our we have our Patreon and our Steam page, and if you guys want to support us. So today we're doing a tier list on it's going to be the best settings, biome settings that is for fantasy worlds, and we've kind of thrown
sci-fi.
And sci-fi, like yeah. So we've kind of thrown some semi-sci-fi ones in here, which I typically steer away from, but we do like, I guess, maybe a little bit of sci-fi here. So, and they kind of fit as well. Exactly. Yeah, you can mix them. So this is totally subjective, and this is kind of a world-building opinion on how much we personally like this biome and stories, either stories that we've seen or stories that we might write, and then kind of just how easy it is to write for, and I guess really everything, whatever your opinion would be on why you like it or why you dislike it. So to get started, we have floating islands.
Well, I gotta say one thing before we go any further. Your list might be subjective.
Mine's
objective.
Yours is objective.
So, yeah.
Well, that's good to know. That's
Yeah.
good to know. Unfortunately, this is a list that we all three will be collaborating on.
Okay. Oh no.
And now that there's three of us here, we will. Some
totally
people will
correct
have to
opinion.
get pushed around.
Yeah.
And with floating islands, the only thing I can really think of, because I think floating islands are done pretty frequently, but the only thing that's really sticking out to me is in Legend of Zelda. There's all the floating islands, and then also in that the new game. What's that? It's the Black Desert game. What's that called? You know what I'm talking? Crimson Desert. Crimson Desert. There's
I don't know.
no Crimson Desert. There's if you've seen any trailers for that game, there's floating islands in that. But I know it's done a lot.
Yeah, it seems like it's done a lot, but it seems to be like a visual thing more than like an actual like aspect of the story or setting, right? Like I don't oftentimes I don't see civilizations built out of them.
That's a good
enough.
point. Yeah,
They just seem to be there.
Yeah, maybe because of a travel situation.
I guess it would be pretty hard to move onto a floating island.
Yeah, Rufy, any floating island opinions?
When it comes to floating islands, I always imagine like DreamWorks, right? I know it's not really for the games and so on, but I imagine like a dream state, right?
Yeah.
When you have a character, let's say it's a normal forestry area or so on, the story goes as normal,
Mm-hmm.
and then suddenly there's like a dream sequence, and you would imagine that they are like floating around. For example, if you think of Baldur's Gate, that's a good.
Yeah, in that dream realm, yeah.
Yeah, in the dream realm, right? When they were on the floating islands, I that's what I imagine immediately. So it would probably be something with the magic, or some kind of realm, or Warhammer 40k when you would be in the Imperium.
Or
in
like
the
post.
eye.
Sometimes it's like also a post catastrophe thing that you'll see the floating islands as well.
Instead of seeing stars, you see the islands.
Yeah. So any opinions on them? Any hard opinions?
I think that I really like floating islands, but I feel like they're normally not important enough to the story. They're more like for visual design. They're more to like stand out to look cool than they are to actually matter.
I actually kind of agree. I think as far as the setting goes, if your world is set in floating islands, you can have a cool world building spin, but you actually have to kind of build your world around how do people get from island to island, which might not be that hard. But I'm not a huge fan. Rufy, do you?
Yeah.
I feel like it's sort of a good plot to have it, especially as I said for the dream sequences. So I would say it's not completely up there, but for me it would be at least B or C.
Okay.
It's interesting. It's interesting if you have it. It adds to the flair of any kind of visual novel you're inspiring to write, or
So you're saying maybe not as maybe the civilization isn't there, but you like it as a setting.
As a setting, I like it as a setting.
That's fair. I mean, I think it could potentially be C tier.
Oh, actually, now when I'm thinking about it, when it comes to settings and so on, do you know Pandora from Avatar? That was pretty good. That had floating islands.
That's true. Pandora did pretty good, actually.
That was pretty good. So for me, it would be. For me, it's B.
Yeah, I'm cool with B actually.
I lean towards C because honestly, can I tell you, something has
Hater.
to be in D tier, and something has to be in D tier, and to me this would actually been a D tier. So
Really?
because I think it's a cool background thing, but to me it's not.
So
you know.
strong C. Strong C.
We'll give it a
Sure, we'll
strong
do-
C because you both said B, so I can waiver that.
Strong C.
And so next we have forests, okay? And with forests, this isn't jungles and this isn't like swamp forest. This is specifically forests.
Yeah. This is what you have in a majority of the United States that matters. This is where I live. I live here. That's actually my backyard,
Yeah.
funnily enough. I don't know why you
Yeah.
I don't know why you stole that picture right from my backyard catalog. It's kind of a little crazy you did that.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
and
We are only missing the mud hut.
I think when we think forest too, like I think one of the distinctions that makes things tough is because would you guys consider is forest? Do you guys think a climate thing?
As in like
Like,
the
is it
temperature.
like because well, in your head, granted, like a rainforest is a
Mhm.
forest, but you would consider like the Amazon, you would consider that a jungle, right?
Yeah.
But you would probably consider what would you consider the Pacific Northwest?
I guess it might be almost a density thing because the rainforest, I think they're like way more dense in almost every way than like well, I mean at least when I think of American forest, you know,
Mm-hmm.
compared to the Brazilian like rainforest and whatnot. Those just seem to be like way more compact in every way. I might be wrong, but it's like I guess they're more swampy, but I don't think so. I think that because we have forests the same way that are in Florida, you know, it's not like they're not humid and hot and sweaty and sticky.
Fair enough, yeah. I like forests. Are they cliche though? It would be the question because it seems like there's always a forest tribe or there's a city in the forest and they do woodworking. Like think
Sure, well,
Folkreath
it's-
and Skyrim as your.
I think there's sort of a good reason for it. It's almost like impossible to have a civilization with there being a forest, and then it's almost like inherent to human civilization. Any civilization ever that has had will run into those things, right? It just seems totally natural to have something like a riverwood, like where their primary goal is to cut wood and send it upstream or something like that.
Roofy has a. I'll say, well, Roofy is a. As a Czech individual, there's a
Czech.
lot of history with the forests.
And
Do
he was
you
born in one.
do you have any inclination towards the forest or against the
Inclination?
forest?
Well, when it comes to the reservations and so on, when it comes to actual like agriculture, yeah, we do have a lot of reservations where there is quite a lot of forest down to mountains, especially around the borders. But we are looking at it from the sci-fi. What is the scope?
Fantasy.
Here?
Well, yeah,
Fantasy.
fantasy, yeah.
We do have a lot of mystical creature in Slavic, I would say mythology, or how do you call it?
And I think that's a huge part of the world building. It's not just where the cities are. Is things generally
Yes.
live in the forest, and it makes it easier to. And that's why you see all of the, like you were saying, all of the different myths that are in the
Mystical creatures.
forest, and then also you look in America,
For
the
example,
kind of that Atlantic Midwest Appalachian forest area has pretty much all the cryptids. So
we have actually quite a lot of cryptids as well, or what we wanna call it, monsters from the
Mhm.
forests. For example, we have a Heikal, which is basically a sort of a manly mystical creature which lives in the forest, and he always you can hear him at nights. He makes a mystical sound. Basically,
that's
it
just
sounds
me,
like,
yeah, in your ear. But yeah,
screaming. Yeah, a guy's taking shit in the woods. You gotta be like, oh, that's Heikal. So no. I truly believe that when you have a fantasy setting, if it would be Lord of the Rings or it would be Dungeons and Dragons or anything else inspired in such way, you need to have forests.
so what do you
So-
guys think?
I think A tier. I think it's so normal.
Yeah.
It's so.
I'm A
required.
tier also.
Almost
I
required.
lean towards A tier. We
It's-
all
Yeah,
agree, or
yeah, we agree. I think so. But
Okay.
I had to point out it's so surreal. Be like, yeah, forest. Where would you rank forest?
it's
think it's
the
pretty good.
layup though. It's the layup. I think it's the layup though.
Yeah. But you know where I'm going with this, right?
Yeah,
So
but I think
doing
if
a
you,
tier list, I'd be like, what do you think about forest?
yeah,
I hate them, man. I have
yeah.
a
Oh,
personal beef with
I
forest.
hate a forest. I can't
Yep.
stand a forest.
Especially not no oak, no
So-
pines.
Right. So next we have which is mountains and highlands.
Yeah, triple S tier.
Really,
I mean,
mountains
I
and
mainly think of
highlands.
Scotland. I mainly think of Scotland.
That's
like
I would
Highlands.
see that in the highlands part.
Yeah,
Um,
totally both in my opinion. But I like to climb mountains. I love the elevation of it. I like it. It's a good place to be
What about
in real life.
sci-fi and fantasy settings?
Yeah,
though?
well, you
What do
know,
think
Lord
of
of-
I think the thing
dwarves,
with right
orcs,
dwarfs. That's what I was going to say.
goblins,
Is you look at
goblins?
obviously like the Lonely Mountain in Lord of the Rings, and then you also have High Hrothgar and Skyrim. And I think the thing maybe this should have been split up between mountains and highlands because mountains are so cool that it's carrying highlands.
It's
But
pretty distinct, but
I'm
it's
okay putting this.
S tier.
I'm okay with putting it in S tier, and I'm okay with putting it above forest in A tier.
What I think is about mountains, you always have caves and so on, and like underneath the mountains.
I think it's
There's,
really,
like,
yeah,
much-
it's really
much
easy to
to
write
work
mountain
with.
lore too. You
Here's
can
another
There's much
thing,
to
right?
work with. Yeah.
mountains are like in storytelling. Mountains are often shown as like as the
end goal?
pinnacle or the end goal of a story. Like it's something you see
Yeah.
from the beginning.
That's a good point,
As you get closer, I like that. I like that it's a very visually distinct goal that you're getting closer to, whether it be in a
Mr.
game
Mount.
or
Right, and
or in
cool
a
songs.
book or anything like that. Yeah,
And-
yeah, cool songs.
And we have a game coming out that's on a
Copyright.
mountain. It has to be S tier actually.
Copyright.
That's
I mean,
absolutely accurate.
Project Winter Reach is on a mountain, so it has to be top tier, huh?
Yeah, that's the only option. If you put it any less, I would actually have you vote it out.
That's a good point.
Execute it immediately.
Next we have islands.
You know what I
I-
think islands are the best at? Those old boat racing games that were arcades. Aside
Yeah.
from that, I normally don't like islands too much.
Or
But-
hiding children, Epstein. But
Oh, I see. Yeah,
No, Rupee's actually
Good
got it
one.
figured out.
good one. Good one. Israel funds this channel. So we're cut. That's getting cut out, man. Come on.
Cut out immediately.
So when you think islands too, like generally you're gonna think tropical islands, but also everybody here has played The Witcher 3.
No.
Yep.
Okay, well Skellige is a chain of
Oh, yeah,
islands.
the
So.
Norse.
Mhm.
The Norse.
So that is a cool way
Norse
islands are.
inspired.
And this is going to be the hottest take in the world, but in my opinion, islands are just above floating islands.
I
Yeah.
think that might be okay. I might be cool with
Do you
that.
agree with that, Rufi?
Yeah, 100%. And you can
Oh,
have
yeah.
anything. As you said, you can have Nordic, you can have Pacific, like
exactly.
North Islands.
Turns out,
And I think
We
if
just
you're
hate
going to do
islands.
islands, you might as well surround them with water.
yeah.
I just like it a little bit better than them being
Yeah.
surrounded by
Easier
air.
to get to. Easier to get to,
Yeah.
certainly.
So
By air or cosmic wave, you know what I'm saying?
heard that
But
too.
then actually thinking about it now, if it's island in like Cosmos or isn't it actually
Well, I
planet?
think we're gonna have
Asteroid?
other. I think we're gonna have other.
Is it an
I
asteroid?
think we're gonna have other climates here or other biomes here that might cover what you're talking about.
I see.
So, and then next we have plains or grasslands.
I like plains and grasslands, but only when they're not brown like Oklahoma.
To
I was
me,
about to say you have to grow the crop somewhere,
this is slam dunk B. But
We would not be here without.
how
crops.
much does I'm gonna say
But
how much does the Shire boost it up?
Does the
Is there any
yeah,
cooler grassland than the Shire?
It's a good point. The only other options are. Is Whiterun considered?
I was gonna say Whiterun Hold. I was actually gonna say or what's it called? It's not
Yeah.
Hafengar, is it? No, it's not Hafengar. That's the other one. I can't remember what the hold's called. I don't think it's actually called Whiterun Hold, but
It's mostly lowlands, basically.
yeah, grasslands. Yeah.
Yeah,
The only which is not grassland is the city because it's like
Yep.
a small hill peak.
yeah, but it's literally the coolest of all of the flatlands of any Storia game. I don't like any. I couldn't even tell you many other ones.
What's
That's
that? Better. You're
for-
saying that Skyrim's is the best?
Yeah, I think Skyrim's is the best one. The one. in
Well,
Whiterun.
like the Shire and like what Rohan or whatever is like that too, right?
Yeah, well, Whiterun's kind of based off of Rohan, but
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, it is actually. Yeah. So
but
to me,
I don't actually like the Shire as much as Whiterun personally.
Oh, I think the Shire is so cool. It's one of those things where you literally can't do it anymore because it's so it's like you can't make.
It feels like it's stealing from Lord of the Rings.
Yeah,
because
like when
it's
something
so-
becomes like so ingrained, like it has to be. You know that's good.
Yeah.
I mean, I was thinking
think
to
it's-
myself about the Barons in World of Warcraft, or like the Dothraki place in Game of Thrones.
Oh yeah,
Also
the
like
Grass Sea.
That's-
Yeah, it's called the Grass Sea. Yeah,
Mm.
I think it's a. I think I could say it's.
only good for crops. It's only good for crops or like horses, right? So
Yeah,
it's necessary, but how much are you gonna write about it?
that's a good
Maybe
point.
Even when battles happen, sometimes they happen on like a mountain or a hilly.
We think B
Yes.
tier?
I think B tier is totally acceptable.
I think that's fair. Next we have, and I'll tell you, I'm not going to argue this one to death, but I do like this one. Is the swamps?
Oh yeah, big swamp guy here. Love
Oh,
my
okay.
gators.
Well, we have
I
it.
love
Yeah,
mines.
I like swamps. I think swamps are cool, and I think it's really
Yeah.
easy to. Typically, when people, it's very to me it's cliche to write like a dark forest,
hmm
and I'll tell you, I think dark forest is out, and I think dark swamp is in.
Dark swamp is in.
Dark swamp is in.
Dark swamp
Doesn't need to be
certainly in.
dark either. It can be just a swamp.
It can just be.
Because,
It can be just a
if
swamp
you-
too.
If you look on historical, like for example, battles, a lot of them happen in swamps or swampy regions.
It's where I'd want to fight.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's as
I
if-
know I've got stronger legs.
If I
than
die,
this
you don't
guy.
have to bury me. Just throw a little mud on me.
Yeah.
Something will eat me.
But it was mostly done to like negotiate the nobles, right? When they had horses, so they would be
Yeah.
useless in swamp.
That's the.
So, I mean,
What is
and
the?
also cryptids. Again, you can write a lot of cryptids, maybe even more than in forest, because mostly you have a forest with a swamp.
That's a good
know?
point. Yeah, the swamp makes swamps better for cryptid. You got the skunk ape. Come on now.
Skunk ape is awesome. And,
Skunk
well,
ape
here's
is
the thing.
awesome.
I think swamps are done less than forest. I think that's on their own kind of gives them a higher a quality.
You
that's
think
good.
swamps are? Or you're saying swamp over forest?
I think I might be putting swamp over forest.
I
Yeah.
would say past. No, behind. Yeah. I would
You
say
think
the other way
behind?
around. Yeah, behind forest.
This is not fantasy at all, but whenever I think of swamps, I always think of if you've played the first Red Dead Redemption, what's it called? Thieves Landing is in the swamp. That's just one of the swamps that I think about. And then I will say this might be an argument against, but I think like the weakest province in the Elder Scrolls is Black Marsh.
That is totally true.
Yeah. It's
But,
boring sometimes to play in marsh. Who likes marsh?
But
when it's not like a battle or something. Everybody hates it.
I think because it's hard to put big cities in the marsh. So the
Yeah.
marsh ends up being more of like a
Filler.
not filler, but in a way where it's like
It lives side by side.
it is
with
the
another terrain.
marsh is generally the obstacle than it is the like the story is we have to go through the marsh. The story isn't we live in the marsh. It's we have to go through the marsh. So
Well, let
Yeah,
me tell you
but-
one of my favorite swamps.
Tell me
You
about
ever
the
watched
fens.
Princess Bride. Oh, the fens.
oh
That's
yes,
one
I
of
have.
my-
I actually just watched The Princess Bride like 2 weeks ago. So
Yeah, I like the swamp setting in the Princess Bride. It's a little silly. It's a little like
yeah, they have the
fantasy.
fire breathing rats or whatever.
Yes, and they're so good. They're so good.
Yeah,
Very
and,
unique.
and obviously in our story, you're writing a lot of the fens, which is a swampland.
Yeah, a large scale like feudal civilization built out of more swampy lands,
Yeah.
kind of like South Georgia
So-
and whatnot.
Actually, I might even just. I think we could even just say give Tristan he maybe he gets the executive power on this one because he's actually writing a swamp right now.
Oh,
What do you
that's
think?
true.
Where do
I
you think they
actually have
rank?
more. I think that as a swamp man himself, I'm putting it above Woods.
Are you okay with that,
maybe if I s-
Rufy?
I don't know. I have a vote on it.
I mean, obviously, if you super eject, I think it's tied, so I'm okay to say that. Like
I
that's
died as well. It's
okay. If
yeah.
Tristan yeah, okay, yeah, it is, but
Boom.
it makes a difference.
Personally, I would write more about. Oh, sorry about it. I would mostly write about forest. Like I can imagine in my head right now more stories in forest.
That's exactly the problem. Is it's so drawn out, it's so used that I think that on its own makes it like an overused quality, whereas swamps don't have that exact problem in writing fantasy. I think they're used less than woods, and that's kind of why.
And I do
That's
think
something I like.
I do think if you can pull off a cool, I think the thing is too is that generally the swamp stories aren't like if you can create a cool civilization in a swamp, I think that's pretty cool. Because like say
Well,
like Venice started in a swamp, right? So and then it's evolved out of a swamp since. And I think it's pretty cool.
I mean, not really, but
Well, not really, but when you think of Venice, you don't think of a swamp. You think of like it's like a
I was
coastal
going to
city.
say, yeah, you don't think of a swamp.
Yeah. And I think that's cool if you were able to pull that off. But next one, we have underground realms. So
Underground realm.
the first one that comes to mind for me, because I spent so much time being lost in it, is, do you guys remember
Blackreach?
Blackreach? Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Fuck that.
Yeah, Blackreach.
But
I hate it so much.
you know,
And there's the most
Blackreach-
annoying quest with the Nimrod thing.
Yes.
Yeah,
Yeah, oh, I knew not to do I knew not to try it.
Don't pick it up.
I don't like collectathon quests, so I don't. I
Yeah,
was
me
gonna do it
neither.
anyway.
Nobody likes collecting quests. World of Warcraft ruined it for everyone.
Right.
Here's the
But
thing. If Blackreach didn't last so long, you would really think Blackreach is cool.
No, I
The
agree. It just
problem
fact is I'm
is-
lost in there, and I hate the Falmer so much.
Yeah,
Actually,
Yeah.
not anymore. To a degree, it's still kind of scary being in the. I don't like bugs, and they got the big centipedes. It kind of grosses me
Yeah.
out.
Let's try us.
I kind of don't like even being in there, and there's Falmer everywhere, so it's kind of brutal for me. And then I would say the only saving, which actually Blackreach is cool to be fair, it just sucks to play through. But as a setting, it's cool. And then also you have what's the
Barbs.
Moria?
The Mines of Moria.
Yeah,
Mines of
that's
Moria.
cool. I mean, in the Hobbit, at least I've only.
Yeah,
a
no,
second
they are
one.
cool. I really like the whole underground like setting, really, because it produces a lot of writing challenges that give you a lot to think about. Like, if there is a civilization that lives totally underground, like in Blackreach, there is an artificial sun that they created to live under there, and they have a lot of challenges that they overcome to put.
Yeah, which is first question. Why?
Because they didn't want to be above ground, I guess.
I'll say this though. Do you think, now this is a potential negative,
Mhm.
do you think that the pressure of making if it's a civilization specifically,
Mhm.
in a way, or do you think that you're pressured into making a dwarf, or in turn a Falmer, where it's like something that's like de-evolved into something gross because it lives underground? Do you feel like you're pressured into doing one of those two things?
It feels like the first instinct thing to write and do, right? As soon as you think about going over there, that's the thing your head jumps to, because it's been like so ingrained.
And then is that
through
negative?
stories.
And then again, on the same note, is it negative to not do that, because then it's almost like you're going against the grain on purpose?
It's honestly a damn
take a
if you
spin
do,
on
damn
it.
if you don't.
You could take a spin on it, even though you're supposed to like do some. You're always gonna do good, evil, neutral, right? So if you're gonna go the evil route, for example, we have goblins in Lord of the Rings and so on.
Oh,
or-
there's goblins too. That's fair.
Mhm,
Yeah,
mhm.
and then when you look at Warhammer, for Age of Sigmar, 40k, doesn't matter. You always have some kind of demon or Skaven, the rats.
Yeah.
They
No, the
do
rat
live
people.
underground. The rat people. So
Not if you ask
could
the
do something
government.
like that. You could do something like that. Like a
Yeah,
little bit,
I mean,
take on it.
in 16 Thrones with the with the Jade Elves, we did it where they're elves and they're goblin-ish, but they kind of in a way assume the role of a dwarf in a way. So
Yeah.
it is kind of, I feel like that there is a bottleneck in writing the underground thing, where you kind of become dwarves, because the only certain people can live underground, and you kind of have to be able to engineer your way around it.
Mhm. Yeah, it would be hard to. It's super. I think it's kind of weird or hard to make like just a purely human normal civilization, and put it underground. Like it just feels wrong almost.
Yeah.
I mean, even Falmer, right, from the Elder Scrolls, they were white, beautiful elves, and they degraded into goblins, which are also blind,
Yeah,
like moles living under the ground.
Yeah.
So, it's completely the case.
I'm gonna say, in my opinion, I think it's cool, but I think for writing for it, I think it's
be above planes. That's me. I don't know how you.
why you have to man, now you're making it seem like I'm the contrarian, because you hurried up and dropped yours right before I got. I think it's bottom of C
The bottom of C.
to
Oh,
write, because I think you're stuck. I think you're stuck. I think you have to do it. Not you have to, but there's so many more limitations, which maybe it's a good thing, but I think you're really limited, and then your end result is always, not always, but it's generally going to be one of two things, and it's going to be a dwarf or it's going to be a falmer. And I think like you're kind of bottlenecked into two paths that turn into falmer or a dwarf.
Well, I'd say maybe, right? And don't take this as an attack. Maybe that is just your mind closed into a box.
It could be, and it could be, but hey, it's just my opinion. Don't kill me for my opinion, man.
I won't kill you for your opinion. I will say this: it's almost necessary to have a setting like this in a fantasy world of some sort, and it seems totally unavoidable. And because of that, I want it no matter what above floating islands, no matter what.
So you want it? I would feel good about it being B tier behind planes.
That's where I want it.
Rufy, do you feel good about that?
The reason why I want it in front of planes, because when you look on planes, you are thinking like agriculture and so on. But as we now talked about it quite extensively for the on-ground empires, you could go even a different route. Why do civilization? You could just have animals like.
And then I think then that's when I think you turn into the Falmer. That's what I'm saying. That's you took the turn into the Falmer.
I would go even more fungi or like some shrooms, living organism, a gas organism underground.
Like in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
If you got to that point, I'll say that's cool. I think
even
that
wider sci-fi, like when you're Stellaris, the game Stellaris. You have sometimes underground empires living in your planet, and they are sometimes not even physical. Like they are not carbon-based life forms. They sometimes can be like a gas people or a gas like actually helium.
I think it's a cool spin. I don't think it has. It's to me the planes. You can do a lot with. I guess you can do a lot with both, but I think with planes you can put cities in the planes. You can put tribes in the planes. You can put horse lords in the planes. You can put ruins in the plains. You can put anything in the plains.
Is it interesting though? I mean, like in terms of grandeur, because when I thought about, for example, you said Moria, or what was the one from Lord of the Rings?
Moria.
Yeah, it's the Mines of Moria.
The Mines of Moria. When I first saw it as a kid in the first installation of Lord of the Rings, I was just shocked, like by the vastness of the halls from dwarves and so on. And I feel like it's very metal and magnificent compared to plains, where you just see like a nice city. Yeah, cool. But then you walk into ruins of Dwarven city and you see like the magnificent architecture. I would be more.
I'll give it to you guys. Guys. It can be above plains, but if you ask, yeah, it's gonna be above plains, I guess. I think plains are your leather wallet. They're always gonna be there for you. You can work them into the ground. And I think, I just think underground realms, like I said, I think you end up in two places. But hey, we'll go with the consensus here. And next we have tundras.
I think ice bears. I think ice bears immediately.
Well, when I think tundras, I think of the greatest game of all time.
I think it's Skyrim, Elder Scrolls V. That's the one he's thinking of, isn't it?
It certainly is. And I think that there is only two drawback to tundras that I can come up with.
Tell us what those are.
I think that it's really hard to justify big civilizations in tundras.
Mm-hmm.
And I think almost any other biome you actually can argue for it. In swamps you could argue for, you know what I mean? And almost any other biome you could argue for it.
That's where you mix the underground with the geothermal.
Right. Yeah. So that would be cool. And then I think the other thing is I think. Hey, what's your favorite biome for a fantasy world? Biome. Yep. Flowers. Okay. It's not on the list. What I was saying is with tundras, I think the issue that you run into is it's hard to justify like a big city in the tundra.
Mm-hmm.
And then I think
to which I said that you could involve the.
You were saying you could combine like the mountains,
geothermal, and you could, and that is cool. But then it's kind of blending the biomes that we have, and we're trying to be a little bit more. Yeah, we're trying to be a little bit more structured towards the specific biome. But I do know what you're saying. The geothermal thing is cool, and you could have that. But my other thing is, I think, especially lately, maybe not as much now, but for a long time, you were getting like tundra Vikings in every fantasy thing.
Yeah, was it Skyrim that pushed that one?
What was Skyrim? The show
just knowledge-
Viking,
knowledge.
Vikings. Obviously, like the
Yeah,
Frail
that's
Yord
true.
and League of Legends. Like, it just
Yeah.
fit. You know, here's the Vikings.
It
This
fits. It just fits.
it
just fits.
does, but it's like I think it's cool to not. You don't have to nail that trope on the head where it's like,
Yeah.
here's my tundra and here's the Vikings that live in it. I think that you
Yeah.
kind of
there
run
are
it
Vikings that don't live in tundras, and there are tundras that don't have Vikings.
exactly, and I think that it's rare that you see that. Where if it's not Vikings, it ends up being like a beast race in some kind of other
Or
Mhm.
magically
Lore.
being like a snow elf.
or snow elf. There you go.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. But I do think tundras are cool. With all that being said, I mean Skyrim's awesome, and I like the snow stuff.
Yeah, I think that the more towards Greenland that you skew the tundra, the more I like it. So
That's
that's
probably one of the visuals. Like when you think about it, it can be very cinematic. For example, this will be non-related, but it's sci-fi. Blade Runner, the end sequence when he dies.
yeah,
It's
yeah,
very cinematic. It's beautiful choreography. And we will be back with you.
yeah. We're getting cut, Riffy.
No,
All
I'm-
this you can say whatever you
No,
want.
no,
right
it's
now.
not cut.
We're
It's not cut. I muted my mic. Sorry about that. So what do you guys feel about it?
Definitely A tier. Yeah, I think
Wow.
definitely A tier. Not only I love Skyrim too much. I almost
You think
feel
it's
like
above-
Skyrim.
Where's
Yeah,
it ranked
I think,
for you?
I think it is above Swamp. I think it's above Swamp.
You think it's top of A tier?
I think it's top A tier.
Roofy?
No, I would say end of the A tier.
You think forest and swamp are better than tundra?
Yeah,
The
What do you think, Aaron?
you
my
can write more.
my
get
my I would kind of agree because I think tundras is cool. Tundras are cool, but I think like a frozen forest
Yeah.
is cool because of the forest, and I think like a
Like
frozen
Siberia?
swamp. Yeah, or think like a frozen swamp like Morthal is cool because of the swamp, not necessarily because it's a tundra.
I don't like the city.
Well, I don't like the city either, but it's because the city's poorly done. But the hold is kind of like gross and spooky, but it's a good setting at least. I think bottom of A
Right.
tier.
All right, that's cool.
Next we
What
have
happened to it here? What happened to it?
It's got 2 stars, asterisk.
well, my mute button is an asterisk, so somehow that happened. It's gonna have it. Sorry. Next we have
Anybody
oceans.
with anybody with the what do you call it? The OD or ADHD?
Yeah.
Gonna be crazy.
Well, it didn't
Okay.
save when I.
Oh, I guess that's too bad.
Yep. Sorry.
Anyways,
I can.
what?
Oh, I can just change it like this. I didn't know I could do that.
Okay.
Next we have
let's not.
oceans. Next we have oceans.
Oceans. So we're talking about like the top of oceans or underwater?
I would
Like
say that
under-
this is underwater, right? Or it
Zero
could be
ocean.
maybe on top of like the ocean.
That's an island.
Yeah.
No,
Unless
no,
it's
like a floating,
platform.
like a
Like-
floating platform in the middle of
Yeah.
the ocean.
I'm cooler with those, but I really don't like the underground or the underwater civilizations. I feel like they're all exactly the same, pretty much.
I think the issue with underground is far worse in ocean.
I
Yeah.
don't think so.
Yeah,
because
definitely
I
with
have
you.
I have just finished my playthrough of all the Bioshock games, and I must say, you can do a lot of stuff underwater.
Bioshock is probably the one cool example of anything under the water.
The
That
problem
might be
is,
the
though,
only-
is you can say, sure, we can say, okay, I think you run into two. You run into two, like I was saying earlier. I think you get 2 outcomes when you do underground. I think you get 1 outcome when you're underwater, and I think it's Atlantis.
Yeah, it's always Atlantis.
So to say, you mean Atlantis or something like a sci-fi?
And even
mix?
Bioshock is sort of
I like
it's
Atlantis.
pseudo-Atlantis.
It is, yeah. I think it's D tier.
Yeah, city under the water.
I think it's D tier.
Yeah,
Something's
I-
got to
that's
be
the one
D
I'd
tier,
put in
and
D
it's
tier. That's the
certainly
one I'd put
to
it.
me it's the worst one.
But to
Mhm.
be fair, everybody hates the water level. It doesn't
Yeah.
matter what you
True.
play, Mario or like
Sonic especially. Sonic's got the worst ones.
I never played Sonic games that much.
Oh, we all agree D tier.
D tier, Jeff.
Sure.
Next we have volcanic lands. So think
Ooh.
Morrowind or
Yeah.
Mordor.
C tier.
Yeah.
Oh,
my
wow.
instinct is C tier. My instinct
Shocking.
is C tier. The reason is because it feels like there's not a ton you can really do with them. I'm trying to think of like all the good examples, and even Mordor is kind of like just a barren wasteland where orcs spawn from, right?
It's hostile land.
Yeah, and I think that Elder Scrolls does it really well.
I think
with
Morrowind is
Morrowind.
is like the coolest.
It's the coolest one. Maybe honestly, if we had a Skyrim-sized game that was just totally dedicated to Morrowind, I might like it more because of that. But I feel like even then, it feels a little bit shallow. The setting feels like it doesn't. I don't know. My instinct says that.
To me,
doesn't really feel like it matters
I think it's at least
Skyrim.
it's at least over grasslands.
Yeah, I'm definitely cool with that. I think it being
Roofy?
over grasslands is good.
The only thing which I can think of would be more interesting is if you have like an elemental place when it comes to volcano, when you would have like in World of Warcraft. What is his name again? He's one of the main bosses.
I don't
no
know
idea,
World of
man.
Warcraft, so.
Give me a second. I have to think about it. But he's basically like elemental force, and he can generate, of course, volcanoes and fireballs and so on. So that's like a way I can think of it if you're not thinking like actual human beings or human-like animals or Homo sapiens, of course.
In my opinion, the problem with there's a good way and a bad way, and I think the way to do it is like ashlands, and I think the bad way is to do it like fiery lands. And I think that's a big distinction. I think it's pretty clear on how you should do it.
Totally with you.
Ragnaros. The name is Ragnaros. How would I forget Ragnaros?
And I was just thinking about this. In Kenshi, there is actually probably the coolest ashlands actually of all of them. I actually really like the ashlands in Kenshi.
Yeah, well, you also, side note, sorry to cut you off here, you also have an ashlands style desert to make as well.
I'm in the process on that one.
Yeah,
and
so
it has been a little bit more challenging than the fence, but we're getting there.
Mm-hmm.
But to think of it as well, you could also have a spin on dwarves, right? Warhammer. You have the Chaos Dwarves.
Yeah.
They live in volcano area.
I think it's better than grasslands. And
Yeah.
in my opinion, it's better than underground. I don't know about you guys, but
No.
that's fair. I'll take it above the grasslands then.
What's next? Desert?
Desert is next.
Desert.
Yeah, I'm not gonna be kind to it. I'm gonna be putting it below probably floating islands in C tier.
Shocking. I think desert's better than grassland.
Really? Man, apparently you think everything's better than grassland.
I think grassland is like your average, and I think desert is certainly easier to write than a grassland because it's such a like defining, like I think the things that you have to think is like when you make a fantasy map, two things you're almost always going to have is a desert and a tundra. So like props to the tundra. And then the other side of that is you almost will always have a desert as well.
I guess my main thing isn't that
it's easy to write a desert too.
Yeah, I don't think it's hard to write a desert. I just personally, when I'm in a game or watching a show and we go to the desert episode or the desert level,
that's fair enough. I typically
not excited about it.
I typically don't, but it's not quite a desert. But I think it was really cool in Game of Thrones when they went to Dorne, which wasn't a desert, and I think it's really cool when they go to Karth, also in Game of Thrones, and that's in the desert.
Yeah, because you can mix it. You can mix it with Oasis if there is a river.
Exactly. Yeah, I think deserts are pretty cool, and also like I'm not a big Dune fan, but you can have crazy animals that are in the desert that shouldn't be because it's fantasy. Where in real life, yeah,
Listen, okay.
In real life, deserts are kind of boring, but in fantasy, because you can really mix it up with the wildlife, I think deserts become pretty cool.
You know, honestly, it's almost they mix the ocean, like what you would do with the ocean in fantasy. They do the same exact thing with deserts, not with underwater civilizations, but with the creatures that would come from it, right? Like what are the sandworms aside from just giant whales?
Yep.
You know.
Yep. I think it's better than grasslands. Is that fair?
Yeah, I'm cool with putting it above grasslands.
Okay. Next we have glaciers, as the British say. Potentially, maybe they do. I don't know. I just made that up.
What a gross way to say that.
Glaciers. Just glaciers.
Glaciers. I'm going to say it. I think the only thing that I can even think of of people using glaciers is from like Avatar, but like the Airbender Avatar, right? Because don't the water people live in the glaciers?
They basically do. Yeah, they live pretty much in only the North and South poles, pretty much. And thinking about it, I was literally thinking, I was like, where the fuck have I even seen something that goes into these settings? And I wouldn't have even considered it a setting like to build the list out of. Now that you said Avatar, I guess that makes sense.
Yeah, and then the far north of Skyrim, obviously, as well.
Sure.
There's a terror story, right? About a British ship, for example.
Okay, that's cool. But yeah, that's cool. I think that is cool. So, in my opinion, glaciers are D tier above ocean. That's my opinion.
Yeah,
Sorry.
I'm with you.
Roofy?
I would put it even harsher. I think I would put it behind water. Because in water you can still write something like Atlantic or like a rupture, like in Bioshock. But like glaciers, what the fuck are you gonna do with glaciers?
Fair enough. Next, we have... this is our wild card one here.
Yeah, I think I know.
This is on a massive animal.
Yeah, I put this super high up.
On top of giant creatures. I think Discworld is on top of a turtle.
Yep.
And then obviously this game, and I cannot remember this game. I literally...
Do we have on the list also the living...
The living world here is this...
Okay, my bad.
This guy.
Okay. Yeah, so an example, I guess, for me, that I think... Yeah, an example of this that I really like is actually in Armored Core 6 with the giant, huge walker with the laser cannon on the top of it, and it's like that's the roaming rebels city, like that whole thing. It's so big that it basically constitutes its own setting. I always love anything about these. I don't know what it is about them, but I'm a big fan of them. I mean, it gives the story. It gives you a way to move something in the story while being in the same setting. So you can move from point A to point B. While still in the same setting, you can transfer, like time can actually move forward in the story and progress can happen.
What was the one God of War where you had like a huge turtle or something? They lived on it? Which game was it? I remember a game where you had like a huge turtle. Or it might have been
Discworld is on a turtle. It's a fantasy series, but... and I think maybe in Avatar or something like that, there might be a turtle city too or something. Who knows?
Pretty sure there's a giant turtle in Avatar.
Yeah, so I would say, in my opinion, it's cool, but my only issue with it is it's very niche in the type of fantasy that you're going to write.
But it's cool.
It's cool,
It's very cool.
but it doesn't fit in a lot of fantasies. It'd be really out of place in a lot of fantasies. I think it's like it's a very high fantasy thing.
It is. Or in, you can get away with it in sci-fi the same way Armored Core does, but in fantasy, it's only really you're making it like this is the standard. Like you are pretty much elevating it to high fantasy by having this.
You would have to make it into a character. It would have to be like a character or god or something.
So
seen as a character. But,
let me throw out my opinion here.
What's your opinion?
I think it's like an S tier idea, but because it's so niche, it's the top of B tier. That's my opinion.
I'm cool with that. That's good. I'll take it.
How do you feel, Rufi?
Top of what?
B tier. I feel like it's an S tier idea, but because it's so niche, it has to be the top of B tier.
Oh, yeah, it's more than generous. I would say. I was expecting like.
Well, I think it's like if it's done right, it's fucking awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But it's really hard to do. Next, we have Crystal Forest. Crystal Forest.
I'm thinking of Terraria immediately, like when you had the corrupted forest, and then you had the sparkling forest.
Yeah, I'm looking up here. I have the Crystal Desert from Guild Wars 2, the Crystal Tower Environs from Final Fantasy 14, and Gem Fields of the Anauroch from D&D. Now, I don't know any of these things. I don't know any Crystal Forest.
I don't know any of them either.
To me, coolness factor, it probably, to me, is above or below Floating Islands.
I would put it below Floating Islands. At least I can think of cool examples for Floating Islands. Going back to Bioshock. True. Bioshock has cool example of Floating Islands. I can't think of a really good example.
I like Avatar more.
Do you agree, Rufi? With the okay, cool.
This is such a niche. This is very niche. Like
I think it is really niche, yeah. And you really have to justify why it makes sense too.
Still cooler than the bottom of oceans because they suck.
Yeah, and next we have these are dreamscapes. dreamscapes. So the Fade from Dragon Age, the Emerald Dream from WoW, and the Dreamlands from Lovecraft mythos.
Okay.
Oh man.
I think it's bottom of C tier.
Yeah, I can't put it up anywhere. I don't. I think that thing. I don't have an example. I don't have a single example where I can really think about it.
I mean, the last time we were doing when we started with the floating islands, I compared to Baldur's Gate, so this one would actually be more.
This would actually be that. Yeah, this is like actually that. Yeah. And then that's the only thing it's cool, and it's only cool as like a momentary setting. I wouldn't want a story in there at all.
Yeah.
It totally kills the stakes of the story if your entire story is in some sort of dreamscape.
Yeah.
I mean, depends. If it's a horror game, why not?
Well, sure, but like when imagine a studio. There's movies where there's a story and it goes on, and then at the end it's like turns out it was all a dream. That is the biggest loserish like ending to a story ever of all time. Right? I normally don't.
All right. Yeah.
So do we think it's bottom of C, or do we think it's top of D?
Top of
D.
I would say.
Top of C? You think it's better than Islands?
Behind islands.
But you think you like it better than Floating Islands? I like Floating Islands more.
Yeah. No, I like this because I think it's a very good prop to have in your sci-fi or fantasy, or even like just thinking of it.
I think it's a
very cool concept.
It's a cool tool to have. But
Ooh, I don't know. I think even like a momentary setting, I think Floating Islands are cooler.
Alright, put floating before them.
Okay, I'm cool with that. Next we have, Rufy was waiting for this one, is Living Worlds.
Yep.
So you could think Gaia from Final Fantasy XIV, Ego the Living Planet from Guardians of the Galaxy, and Princess Mononoke's Forest Spirit realm from Studio Ghibli. I also think, and this is like a super off-the-wall example, but if you've seen Life of Pi, have you seen that? No.
Nope, not seen that.
They stop. He stops at an island, and it's like a floating island that seems like it's a paradise, but it's actually like a big living, like carnivorous plant.
Oh yeah.
Cut.
Yeah.
Oh, we're doing a video, Danny.
Yeah, I just sent a message. It's okay. We're already like halfway through. You can't. So if you don't mind, you just mute through this. You don't mind, you said. I don't think we care about you sitting here. Thank you. Appreciate it.
So Living World. So, what do we think?
Yeah, I think the Nurgle's like realm is like actually the coolest example of Living Worlds. I really love the Princess Mononoke one. It's a, but it's a little bit. I guess it is kind of. This kind of makes sense for Living World. I think they're really cool because they turn the setting into a character. I really like the idea of the setting becoming a character, having a real impact on what happens. I honestly put it like, I actually probably put it below, like the very behind the living creature civil, like the giant living creature civilization on B. That's where I'd put it.
I was gonna say behind desert. I think it beats grassland, but I think desert's better still.
Okay. What about you, Rufy?
I don't know where to put this one. Because it's very. I'm surprised you wanted the B tier. For me, it's like a C tier.
I could have put it in C tier too, actually, but
yeah, another good example is the flood from Halo. That basically.
Yeah, I would say at worst to me, it's behind islands, and at best, it's behind deserts.
I think they're way cooler than islands.
I think a lot about like a hostile environment, because one of the examples which you made are not really a place where you would like to live. But like if it would be like a positive, nice, like living world where everybody is happy and stuff, like maybe there could be like a wider spectrum of stories you could write.
There's nothing saying that you don't live in a setting that's kind to you.
What if we say Rufy thinks it's C, Tristan thinks it's there, I think it's here. Let's split the difference and put it here.
Yeah, I guess Aaron can just win by being in the middle.
I mean, you say up here, he says down there. I just happen to be in the middle.
Yeah. All right.
He's controlling the mouse,
Facts.
Yeah.
Next, we have Jungle.
Jungle, baby.
What are good?
I like Jungle.
What are good?
Oh, I'm kind of a Jungle hater.
Yeah.
Are you?
don't really like them too much
Low
either.
key, because
I think of
they.
the good
I
jungles.
think it's a necessity because no matter what you think of, there's always a jungle. Minecraft or like other games, even if you have like shooters which are not really fantasy or sci-fi, you'll have jungles.
I think with
Look.
jungles, like you could say Valen Wood is kind of a jungle, right? In Elder Scrolls, but what I think the thing with jungles is that they're way less cool forests, and then generally speaking, you're either gonna have people
Way
who
less
live it
cool.
way less cool. Yeah, way less cool. I think there's a lot
Like
less.
forest more than jungle.
Yeah, there's a lot less you can do with jungles than forests. Jungles kind of have to be tropical.
Well,
Yeah, that's
I
true.
have here's my thing. I think that the coolest jungles come from games and worlds like Torok, because I think that the coolest thing the thing that
Yeah.
makes a jungle
Dinosaurs.
cool is dinosaurs. Like that's what, when they
Or
put
like
dinosaurs
Ark.
in the
Ark
jungle-
is cool with the jungle
Yes.
too.
Yeah, that's what makes them cool. But if you have a jungle without dinosaurs, I'm like, I don't even know how to put it above sea. like it kind of like missing out on the coolest the part of it, you know. I don't
me-
know what really started that trope.
To
but-
me, this is below grasslands.
I'm thinking King Kong. Have you ever played the movie?
I've seen the movie King Kong, and King Kong's good.
Yeah, there's also a game about, and the game is very underrated, in my opinion. And I feel like it's very great. It's a great setting, especially for like a shooter or horror shooter. And if you would make it into fantasy or sci-fi setting, it would be interesting take. I have not seen many fantasy games in
You know,
jungles. It's
going
always
back to-
horror, shooter, or survival. You know.
Well, Warhammer Fantasy has it, and actually, I think Warhammer Fantasy does it pretty cool with the New World, with with the lizard people and whatnot. Again, going back to dinosaurs, it's because they got dinosaurs. but-
Dinosaurs. Yeah.
You know, the inner 6-year-old me can't get away from. If I see a jungle in a fantasy story of some kind and we don't have dinosaurs, I immediately dislike it.
To me,
Yeah, personally, I like them more than deserts, but that's because I would have deserts lower on the tier list. I would probably put them above islands, pretty above the top of sea.
So strong sea.
Yeah, either the strongest sea or the second to weakest B.
to me, I think a jungle, the role that it normally will serve in a story, and the way that I would write it,
Yeah.
a jungle kind of serves the same purpose as a desert. I just think it's not as good. If that makes sense. Is because your desert is a lot of times it's this big wasteland that it's hard to cross.
Mhm.
And your jungle's kind of the same thing, but it's not a wasteland. It's just a hard thing to cross. And the difference is, I think there's lots of really cool different desert societies, and I think jungles
Yeah,
generally
gonna say
don't
that.
are pretty one-dimensional with the societies that typically belong in there.
I was gonna say that
About
deserts have more
Amazonians.
civilizations for sure. Yeah, but well, that's the thing is we have real desert civilizations, and Amazonians are actually like we have a lot of real world examples for deserts to pull from, which is probably why we have so much variety for it.
Yeah, in the deserts you can have nomadic tribes, you can have settled people, you can have people who live around who are like
Large,
huge in
giant,
tech.
wealthy
You have
empires.
so many different. Yeah, exactly. And in the jungle,
Rivers, oases.
in the jungle, you either have tribes or you have like people who are like advanced for no reason who live in trees.
I like the alien advanced
Yeah.
tribes in forests. They're in jungles. Those are cool, but I mean,
So they,
it's kind of weird.
I think they're
Are
around
we
here.
going to Avatar again?
I think they're around here. Do we like them around
I'm cool
here?
with this is a cool place to be.
Rufy, you agree? Or
That's fine. That's fine.
next we have machine worlds. Or
A tier?
Strong. Very, very strong, I would say.
You're very strong, big A tier.
really okay.
You can make so many stories with that.
Well, but the problem is, here's the thing. The idea is super cool. The only issue with it is there's not a ton of really cool examples and stories of them being used well. But that doesn't mean that I don't think that the idea is so cool that I want to put it in A tier. Well, go ahead and give me some.
So you have Mars from Warhammer 40k.
War-
You have... Yeah?
That's true. We have that. That is true. And Mars is really cool. But
And
I
you
mean,
also have Machine Wars in, for example, Stellaris, and I feel like they touched upon that greatly. That you can even start with the Machine War, and then there's like a whole storyline about it, how it came to be.
I guess my issue with the Stellaris examples is they don't really go into like a lot of detail as to like the. I guess they don't really zoom in enough for me to really want for me to take Stellaris too seriously. Like I feel like they could go deeper into the story of what it's like to be on these worlds, but in Stellaris, it's not about that. administrating a world while looking down on it, rather than being a part of it or living in it, right? Whereas Mars,
Yeah.
that Mars is really good about that because they do have a ton of examples of that in 40K. And Mars, probably that might be the coolest example. Yeah, that might be the coolest example of them, and that is, I do really like them. So there's that. I don't know many others though.
You're actually wrong about the Stellaris one because you can start with the machine world that you are actually like a machine society, or you just live on the machine world as a human carbon-based life form. So I feel like that's very cool that you can think of it both ways. I think Adeptus Mechanicus from Warhammer is like in between those two worlds, sort of.
Yeah.
But that's a nice take on it. But it could expand much more, and I like that. Even Dyson spheres around the suns and so on. It's a machine world, technically.
I will say, I think they're probably a little harder to write than most other settings, though.
But in terms of coolness,
yeah, it's very cool.
It's very cool. So I would leave it in the A. I actually think you put it very well.
Okay, cool. And I like it here because I don't like it any more than anything. I like everything above it to be way better.
Yeah.
Next we have.
Also, one more thing when you think about it, you could go the cyberpunk-ish way, you know, like our own Earth ends up to be a machine world, right? That would be kind of cool as well, and you could mix it with fantasy or sci-fi. Well, sci-fi
you could put a lot of themes in there about humans being too greedy, destroying the planet they're on, and this is the end goal or what happens.
Greedy? They're never greedy.
Yeah.
All right, next.
Next is Shadow Realm.
Elden Ring has the best one. Shadow of the Erdtree is totally the best one. when you say that name, that's the first thing I think of. I think that's really good. But
every single Dark Souls game is like the Dark Souls, Bloodborne. Every single one is Shadow Realm. What was the Chinese ad popping up?
Yeah, that was a good ad we got there.
Oh, well, I clicked on something. The only one I can think of, you guys will have to carry on by yourselves for 1 second. But I think of what's it? Shadow of Mordor. Think of that one, kind of in a way. In a way, I guess it's not really, but it kind of gives that vibe.
Sure. I guess I really want to know more about what we're talking. What are we just drawing the line as? What is a shadow realm, right? Like, is it a distinct line between, like, in a world like in Elden Ring, right? They're like, boom, this is the this is where we consider the shadow. They draw a line that's actually geographically there. It's like, if you're over here, this is the shadow world. And it is distinctly different in that. In Elden Ring, it's only geographically different, but in some, it would be like you have to go through a portal, or it's a different realm. It's an opposite version of something, right? I guess that's what I want to know what we're talking about here.
The line is very thin between this and like the volcanic area for me.
Yeah.
I would say it's basically like volcanic land or like something like that.
I guess if you go to it, I guess.
And I'm back.
Even having the Lion King.
What'd you guys think?
Well, I want to know, Aaron, when you say like a shadow realm, right? Like, what are we talking about? Like, there's like a.
It's like Shadowlands, I guess. Kind of the examples that I have here for you are Shadowfell from D&D, the Realm of the Shadow from World of Warcraft Shadowlands, and the Plane of Shadow from Pathfinder. So unfortunately, I don't know what any of these are. So.
The World of Warcraft one is a good example, I think.
I get the vibe. I don't think it's that great of an idea. I think it's a cool idea. I just don't think it's ever implemented in like the coolest way to me.
It's the best way for them to be implemented normally is like as like an apocalyptic version of like where you are. So it's like
it's like an alternate.
Yeah, more like an alternate place to be. Like, it's an alternate version of where we are now. Like, so in D&D, it's literally like it's the same world. This place sucks, and it's full of shadow, evil, demon monsters, and everything is dark. So it's more of like, if you go there, it's a bad place to be. It's totally apocalyptic.
Yeah.
So it's not somewhere. It's normally not somewhere you'd want to write a full story. At least for most stories, they wouldn't want to write a full story there. They'll have like an adventure where they have to go here to get the thing because it only exists here, and it's a terrible place to be, and it's very hard, because the whole world is out to get you. But my favorite example is going to be the Shadow of the Erdtree, if you were going to consider that part of that.
Yeah,
I put it.
Go ahead.
Yeah, so I'd probably put it above underground civilizations in B, but.
That's a shocker. I was gonna say, to me, it's probably just cooler than Dreamscapes.
I certainly think it's cooler than Dreamscapes.
Yeah, but is it like because of one example that it's done really cool?
Well, I don't know. When it comes to D&D, I kind of like the world, but most of the time I'd rather avoid it too. So, I'm cool with putting it at the bottom of B, at the top of C.
Rufy,
but I personally
Yeah.
like it more.
What do you think, Rufy?
I'm still hooked up on the floating islands in Avatar Pandora and so on. So I would even put it C behind it.
This is kind of where I think it is too, honestly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Guess I've been outvoted.
Sorry, man. Next,
Life.
which I think we'll all probably agree on, but is post-apocalyptic.
10 out of
Best.
10. Triple S
Best.
tier. Best.
Triple S.
I'm gonna say
Yes.
something though.
What's your gonna say?
I think mountains are better.
I don't think mountains are better than post-apocalypse. I think the
I
mountains
also
in
don't think
post-apocalypse.
so.
Yeah, no, I'm putting it way above
I
that.
would say, because my thing is with post-apocalyptic,
Mhm.
I think it's OP because it's like
It's a setting and a genre.
exactly, and I think when you're like, there's like you think of like the cool, like I think it's kind of OP where I think a mountain is one specific thing.
Yeah.
And it's still way cool because
Well,
you could have mountains in post-apocalyptic, and then like that's still really awesome.
That's exactly why it is totally the best setting, and it's not even close.
Yeah, but the thing is like mountains.
What are you thinking? Urban?
I think
Like
here's
post-apocalyptic?
I think you can't mess up a mountain. I think it's really easy. There's a lot of bad post-apocalyptic stories.
That's true.
I think mountains like straight shot. Mountain's
Straight shot.
perfect.
It's a
To
mountain.
world build it, mountain is perfect. To world build it, if you do it well, post-apocalyptic is the best. But plenty of people's it's also can be really not good, and it can also be kind of overdone.
I think
Wider
that
scope, as you said. You can have
It's a way wider
biome,
scope,
different
exactly.
biome.
Like in your post-apocalyptic is your story. That is your whole story almost. Whereas your mountain, you can put a mountain in any story and it works.
That's the last then. Because
If
we
you're-
are,
if
we are
you're-
agreed on this, I think.
yeah, if you're talking about the ease of implication or
I'm-
the ease
I
of
think
application,
when I look at the whole broad thing, I think post-apocalyptic is really cool because like Fallout and stuff. And I think that there's a lot of other cool post-apocalyptic things, and it's a cool thing to do as a genre. That there was an apocalypse, and there's way different ways you can do it, but A, it's starting to get to be a little overused, and then B, it's not as applicable to a bunch of different things like mountains are.
I think that I don't agree with that statement. I'm pretty sure you can take any one of these settings here, and then you can post-apocalyptify it. I think
You
do
can,
that
but you can
actually
just
every
call anything post-apocalyptic. A mountain is a very defined thing.
Let-
I can
let's
say,
put it
yeah, I
back
can put you in a
towards-
desert, and it can be no different than any desert you've ever seen, and I can tell you it's a post-apocalyptic desert, and then you just have to take my word for it. If
No,
I
no, no,
put
need
you,
to have Mad Max there.
if
You
I
need to have
put
Mad
you
Max
in
there.
my mountain, it's a mountain. There's no question. It's a mountain. You've got the mountain. It's perfect. I have to justify post-apocalyptic. I don't have to justify mountain.
Mm,
If I give you mountain, it's mountain. If I tell you post-apocalyptic, you're like, okay, well, how is it post-apocalyptic?
I suppose. I guess my my only real argument there would be the when it comes to storytelling, the fact that there is a mountain there doesn't have as big of an impact on the world or the area of a setting as the setting of being in a post-apocalyptics and in a post-apocalypse. Actually.
Yeah, but I
think
think that's because post-apocalyptic is a genre.
sure, but it's also a setting. Mountain is not a genre and a setting, and that's why I like it so much. We can go to the Living Planet machine example as well, where it is, or not the Living Planet. Well, it is kind of not the Machine Planet. That is also sort of a pseudo genre, really, and it's totally a setting. But I'd say it's like almost never done as well as a post-apocalypse is. Post-apocalypse is almost maybe it's that they are so like easy to write to be cool rather than have a good story.
Well, I think there's a lot of
written out.
bad post-apocalypse. To be fair,
A lot of good. There's a lot of bad fantasy that's got mountains in it.
Yeah, it's not the mountain's fault though.
It's not the mountain's.
No.
Well, I'd say
You
it's the
cannot find
rider's fault.
mountain.
I'd say it's the rider's fault.
I just think that when you look at everything, you can say all of these great things about post-apocalyptic,
Yeah.
but it requires the entire story is based around the fact that it's post-apocalyptic. You can slot a mountain in anywhere.
What
Yeah.
if you would have all these biomes in single planet or universe? Let's say there's a place where it's tundra. Let's say there's a place where it's forest. There's also a big mountain which is magnificent, and there's a little city with a little bit of I don't know, grassland, tree land, which is post-apocalyptic. And there's also a place where they were struck by a meteor, which had like magical implementations and made everything machine around it. Like, where would you like to hang out? That's like kind of the idea. What would you find cool? And, like story-wise, you could write stuff.
I guess if you look at Runeterra, it's kind of an example of a world that could have all of these, but it doesn't have a post-apocalypse anywhere, I don't think, but it could.
Well,
But that doesn't mean...
how about I have one for you.
I totally agree. I know what Aaron means.
In Game of
but,
Thrones.
Yeah.
You know, I think of all of the really cool places, okay?
Yeah,
And the North is really cool.
sure.
And the Vale is really cool.
Hmm.
And the Stormlands are cool. And King's Landing is cool. And they're all like really, really cool. And even Casterly Rock's a bunch of mountains, and that's really cool.
Where are you going with this?
You know what's kind of cool, but it's not like super the most cool?
What's that?
Is like, you know, like the ruins of like the old place.
Valera Empire.
Exactly, yeah. It's not very cool. And that's like that's maybe the only thing I can think of that has like a post-apocalyptic setting. That's in a fantasy world that like
Maybe we
is
should
not the
rename
main
it
story.
maybe we should rename it from post-apocalyptic to ruins or something.
Yeah, because that's ruins and post-apocalypse are kind of different thing. I get,
Yeah,
I see
well, that's what I'm
you
saying.
mean.
I think like you're drawing on post-apocalyptic's the genre, and I think I think more, if you lean into the setting, it's less cool.
I still, even just leaning on the fact that it is
Is
a
it
decrepit,
Fallout?
destroyed city. Yeah, I still just like that more than mountains. But if yeah,
I'm cool with
Even-
it be like this.
I think it has to be behind mountains.
I voted above mountains, but I'm only one of three.
I say behind, man.
Hey man,
All right,
you
next.
got the
last
cursor.
one.
All
You got
right.
the cursor.
Whoa, it's 2-1. Okay, it's not just I got the cursor, man. And then lastly, we have this is war zones.
Battlefields.
Yeah, battlefields, war zones, kind of maybe borderlands that are like fighting, dangerous.
Cool. Honestly, like
I think it's pretty cool too.
Yeah, like No Man's Lands. Also those, if you want to put No Man's Lands in there as well, I guess that's
Mhm.
kind of like.
Yeah.
I really like all of those. It's just normally it's a short. You spend a short time in these places if you're in
Yeah,
a
it's not
story.
a wide biome at all. It's mostly like a place, like a single place.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not something you write a whole story about being here unless you're writing about World War One, I guess. But I like them as cool. I think they're cool places to be. Like the Hill of Swords as an example. I guess Berserk, more of a memorial to a battleground, but I always like them. I like the memorials to old battles. I put them above deserts, but I don't know that you guys will.
But you can have.
No, I was gonna say they might be
Desert.
both. I was gonna say they're either here or here to me.
That's the thing. You can also have battlefields in multiple places, right? You can have
Yeah, well, they
battlefields
can fit
in
anywhere.
desert, forest,
Yeah, you can, but you can have
jungle.
forests anywhere. I think we're talking about the setting of the battlefield itself. It doesn't really matter where it is. It's the battlefield or the war zone.
If you make like a biome.
In a way, yeah. I think we're abstracting it a little bit where we're saying it's
Yeah.
that.
The last few were kind of wide.
Yeah, well, when it comes to writing, things are kind of vague. Rules for writing are totally bendable, so.
Yeah, well, I just think like in this context when we're like ranking them, we don't want to be like, well, you know,
It's totally this. We don't want to lock them down into anything. We don't want to shove them into a box.
exactly.
I think
What about you,
desert is
Riffy?
above though. Desert is above. I would put desert above it if you want to put it in the middle right there, like that.
You think desert above? What do you think, Tristan?
I think it's above desert, but But again, I think it's fine for it to be there as well.
I mean, when you say battlefield, you imply something bad happened there, right? Some kind of conflict.
I
But when you
like
have
bad things
desert,
happening there.
when you have desert, you can also have like oases, trade cities, as Aaron said, nomadic people, which can be peaceful and quite like good to look at. But when you look at battlefield, it's like destruction, death. Not the greatest place to be in.
Hey, if that's your bet, it's your bet, man.
Unless it's like the new one, the French Crusade. Why?
I kind of like this. I like this list.
Yeah, we did a good job of splitting it up, like where they like a good quantity. Like
Oh yeah,
more of them
we have a
should
real
be in
bell
B
curve
tier
here.
than-
So. Okay,
Thank
guys.
you for watching.
Yep, exactly. Thanks for
Thanks for
watching.
watching, guys.
If you guys liked it, make sure you go down and check out our Steam page and our Patreon and support the channel. Appreciate it.
Godspeed.
Leave some hate comments.
Yep.